know that I was lucky enough to be able to pay mine off. There's a lot of people out there that need some help, and Bernie wants to help them, and that's why I've always been a big fan of that. So
it's time that we become the party of FDR again. It's time for us to become the party of the Civil Rights Act again. It's time for us to become the party that fights for queer liberation again. An anti-war party, a party that establishes peace and prosperity. That's the party I want to be again, and I want to go back home. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a exemplary of the idea that, okay, there is a better way that's possible. There is a better way that's something that can really make the party a better place. And not just the party, just making the country a better place as well. And that kind of, there is a way to do that. There is a way to fight. There is a way that if you actually, I think the part she said in the beginning, that kind of shows you really what it is. I do want to play that part in the beginning just again.
There's a real, almost observational culture around it. We're going to watch the polls. Mm-hmm. We're going to see who's surging. I'm not here to watch a poll. I'm here to change the polls.
When people try to accuse us of going too far left, we're not pushing the party left. We are bringing the party home.
I think that's exactly the mindset that Barack Obama didn't have. And that's the mindset that the Democratic Party never has had. Even when Barack Obama was talking about hope and change and taking hundreds of thousands of dollars of campaign donations from Wall Street, that mindset was missing. That was such an incredible, I think, great way of looking at it. The kind of fact that we're not just going to stand by and wait around until people start to agree with us, because, history bends toward the arc of the arc of justice, the arc of history bends toward justice, or whatever that stupid quote is. But no, I think it's okay that as a Democratic Party we give a little push in the right direction, maybe even a big push, and that is what the Democratic Party needs to start fighting for. And I think they're really going to be. If that wing of the Democratic Party continues to do that, I think we're going to be in for a very, very good place. So we will continue with the show after this. Hey guys, just a reminder that we want to hear your voice. If you like the show, please remember to leave a 5-star review on iTunes, or let us know that you like it by commenting on Spreaker.com or any Spreaker platform, or commenting or leaving a review on whatever platform you may want to get your podcast on. If you like the show, please, again, remember to subscribe, leave a review, because that's how you can support us. Also, if you like the show, please support us by going to Spreaker.com/TSWS, scrolling down and accessing our brand new merchandise store. Yeah, check that out. It's pretty cool. You're going to want to see it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a poll check. We're bringing that song back. It's time to check the 2020 Democratic primary race status election check. I don't know how many times I could have said election or check in a poll, but yeah, we're going to get to it. New polls are out. The Iowa caucus and New Hampshire Democratic primary are just 3 months away at February 3rd and February 11th, respectively. The Democratic field is still in the process of winnowing and occasionally adding. Unfortunately, 12 candidates qualified for the October Democratic debate, but stricter criteria has slightly narrowed the pack for the November debate. Along with meeting donation-based qualification criteria, which is 165,000 unique voters and at least 600 from 20 individual states, candidates must also receive 3% in 4 party-approved polls since September 13th, or at least 5% in 2 early state polls in order to qualify for the November stage. 10 candidates thus far have made the cut. Those include Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Tulsi Gabbard, Tom Steyer, and Andrew Yang. Unfortunately, Tom Steyer is going to be back. Ugh. that is a pain. The fact that he has been able to buy his way onto the debate stage. He says, "Oh, maybe you can't buy an election, but there's sure is many possible ways you can get buy your way onto the debate to possibly try to maybe buy an election." Like that is a real, undeniable way of putting it there. So there's tons of different polls to go through here. They're literally all over the map. And get to some of the most recent polls from both nationally and Iowa. Right now, I think the state of the race looks kind of like this. At least in the Ipsos poll, Bernie and Biden are tied at 19. Warren at 13, and Buttigieg closest candidate at 6. Harris is next with 3. But again, it really seems like there is a 3-way race nationally and a 4-way race with Buttigieg being placed in there competitively, and it's really tough to make a real distinction about it. Let's see what she has to say here. The most recent morning consult poll has Joe Biden at 32, Bernie Sanders at 19, and Warren at 13. The YouGov poll, to get a little of this here, the YouGov poll has Warren at 26, Biden at 23, and Sanders at 17. The most recent CBS poll has Biden at 29, Warren at 26, and Sanders at 18. And the most recent Ipsos poll has Biden and Sanders set at 19 and Warren at 13. So, again, there's a recent CBS poll that just came out, even more recent, that just came out like a few hours ago, that on this Sunday, November 17th, that had Bernie and Biden tied in Iowa and Warren close to some degree. But it's very, very hard to tell what is what's really happening here. But from the best I can tell, we have somewhat of a 4-way race in Iowa. That's what I would say. A 4-way race in Iowa and a 3-way race nationally, with Buttigieg not really being in that much of more of a competition nationally. And I think it's really insane how much the media has been able to boost him up. A guy with comparing him to Obama with, again, literally zero black support. It's very, very funny how that works. Speaking of Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, the second most left-wing candidate in the race, I think it's fair to say, she's starting to move a little bit more to the right. And Libby Watson, the New Republic, has a great article out about it. So, yeah. And again, this kind of starts here with her quote from the debate stage. Why would anyone go through all the trouble of running for president just to go get up on stage and talk about what's not possible? The question that Elizabeth Warren posed to the thumb-faced billionaire and John Delaney at a Democratic debate in July is paraphrased by her campaign in a tweet, and responds to Delaney's characterization of bold policies as impossible promises, and yet it is the logic of possible and impossible of disarming yourself in an attempt to appease your opponent before you've met upon the battlefield that undergirds Warren's newly released plan to split up the passage of Medicare for All into 2 steps. First, the enactment of a public option, and then 2 years later, the passage of a separate bill to achieve single payer. It signals that Warren believes that only a public option is possible without requiring her to say so out loud. It signals to kind of the quote to all the right people that she'll go for a public option, which is pretty much the same as Joe Biden's policy, if you really go down to it. Because, I'm sure she would, in her heart of hearts, maybe she would like to do Medicare for all, but it sure looks all like all the people on the left, like Cenk Uyghur's now running for Congress, who have been coming out and saying, oh, she'll fight to the death for Medicare for all. She can get anything passed. No, she's not a superhero legislatively. She's just not. That is the reality of the situation. Maybe she's it just doesn't seem like that is what she's, she just doesn't have superpowers. That's the first thing we really need to understand here. She just does not have superpowers to just completely get anything done that she wants. True, the way she passed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau with little support from the Democratic side, let alone fierce opposition from the Republican side, that was an objectively good thing. There's no denying that. But the idea that she can just do anything possible because she's the best, Yeah, I mean, sorry, no. Like, that is just the reality of the situation. She's not a superhuman at passing laws, and she's much more of a pragmatic politician than Bernie Sanders is, especially when it comes to this issue. She's had a real kind of back and forth on this in a way that few other candidates have really. I mean, it was right up there with Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris. Like, it is the they pulled off the flip. Those three have pulled up quite the flip flops of all time. We've already talked about Kamala Harris, but I do want to get to Pete Buttigieg. It is coming up about the insane switcherooskies that they've been able to pull off on supporting Medicare for all and not supporting Medicare for all, and just going complete 180. But again, it's kind of just a backing off from, I think, Elizabeth Warren, because I mean, she hasn't gone full ham against Medicare for all yet. She's still saying that she, again, eventually wants to get to a Medicare for all plan, which is much smarter for her because she knows she wants to keep her progressive voters. That's kind of the thing she's trying to do to, like, manipulate people a little bit and saying, like, oh yeah, I do support a Medicare for all plan. I do support something that just does get us to Medicare for all, but I'm only going to really put effort into the part that gets us a public option, which is barely a half-measure step that only the most right-wing candidates in the primary support. Like, you may say in the position that you're in, like, oh, yeah, that's great, but I think it's important that people know what she stands for and where that puts her on the map of candidates in the Democratic Party and what she's going to find in her positions and how she's been able to change so crazily and so effectively over time. So that is a kind of fascinating thing. So she started off in saying in March that there are, quote, different pathways to universal coverage, including expanding Medicaid and a buy-in mechanism. She seemed to find her bravery a few weeks ago or so when she released her plan to pay for Medicare for all. Questionable as the proposal was, it relied on aggressive head tax of employers, pretty much a response for Joe Biden saying that it's going to raise taxes on the middle class. Like, just kind of just wavering and just like, oh, we won't, I promise, please don't get mad at us. We won't pay any more taxes on the middle class, I swear. We won't make the middle class pay any taxes. Please stop attacking us. Republicans, centrist Democrats, please don't attack us. We won't pay anything. I swear. Like that seemed to be what she was trying to do. She was trying to just get her opponents to stop a bad faith criticism of her. Like, they're her opponents. Like, that's not how it's going to work. And she was getting it from all from the right, and that is the really democratic disease. The fact that she's trying to get herself just caper in front of. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly. Just bow down and be like, oh, I will never like. But what she should have done, I think, really is what I think Bernie Sanders handled this. You didn't handle it perfectly, but he handled it much better. He was just like, yeah, we're going to be able to raise taxes on the middle class and the upper middle class, but you will be paying less because you won't have to pay healthcare premiums. It's a simple answer that you should be saying over and over again, but for some reason she just could not say it, even though Bernie was saying it right in front of her. And then what does he do? He looks honest. She looks shifty. Like, if they support the same plan, why are they saying completely different things? Like, this is a little weird. Like, that's what the average voter is probably going to be thinking at home. Like, that is, am I being sexist here? Someone please stop me. But, I mean, that seems to be what she, like, that's her tact there. Like, and I think that's really where it went so wrong. Because, I mean, what she was really doing, she was just coming out in there and saying, oh, I give up. I won't be fighting at all today. And just, like, look, like, she's throwing down her weapons before the fight even starts, is really what she's doing there. Few could say that she didn't own the policy once she outlined the taxes that would pay for it, which is arguably the hardest part of the single-payer pitch. Now she's just blown that all up, as Libby Watson explains here. Warren's latest plan ostensibly provides the transitioning to Medicare for all. In reality, it's a clearer indication that she's settled for the public option like most of the rest of the field, which, I mean, again, is fine. You can do that. We still have a candidate that will fight unequivocally and just unflinchingly for Medicare for all. Like, that's just the way it's going to work. And I'm sure she's going to be coming out in this debate this upcoming Wednesday and being like, I'm with Bernie. I support Medicare for all. I love the idea of Medicare for all. And I think Bernie would be absolutely dumb